So take us through your editorial process. What happens when a piece comes in? And actually, before we get to that, can you clarify you publish fiction and nonfiction and
Yeah, we call it whatever form prose can take.
okay.
So yeah, so it's fiction, nonfiction, and like sometimes people call things hybrid. I don't know. None of these words are adequate, but yeah, if it's in prose, we're potentially interested in it. I do think Matchbook has like over the years, due to our taste and the things that we're interested in, developed kind of like a feel for when we read something, it feels like a Matchbook piece or it doesn't,
Mhm.
which has been really actually helpful because it feels like then Matchbook is just doing its own thing. It's collecting work that is in might be a really wide range of styles, but there's just something about there's a strong voice or sometimes there's a density, I think, to the pieces. I was asking somebody else, a reader, what do you think there's like a Matchbook type of story or piece? And they're like, I definitely do. And I was like, why do you think that? And these are some of the things that they pointed to. And there's kind of like an urgency, I think, because of the nature of short pieces. Usually 1,000 words or less, oftentimes like much shorter, but then also our 1,000 word limit is not a hard limit. You know, somebody sends us something that's 1,200 words and it knocks our socks off. It doesn't really matter. We publish it anyway. So then we take submissions. We open for submissions for usually about a week at a time, take in as much as we can. And then they're auto sorted. So everybody who's an editor at Matchbook, we have sort of behind the scenes, there's sort of like readers and editors, but everybody basically gets an equal vote. Like nobody's opinion is higher. Everything gets read minimum of once. It gets a vote. Anything that's gets a vote of like a yes or a maybe gets a second read. And ultimately, a piece that we take has to receive 2 yeses. So if it gets a yes and then a maybe, it's got to be read a third time by somebody else, and that third vote will usually decide. If it gets another maybe, it's probably winds up being like a nice rejection. But yeah, 2 yeses is a mandatory for us to publish something, basically. So,
do you ever encounter work that you really recognize as being good quality work, but it's not right for Matchbook?
For sure. Yeah. We haven't really published a lot of like researchy stuff, like not like academic stuff, but there's a whole genre of writing that's sort of like essays that are a little bit more academic sounding if they're not academic themselves, or like more of a professional voice or something. We haven't done much of that. Mostly we haven't received it, but we have received a few over the years that I'm like, this is a really finely made piece of writing, but it just doesn't really feel like Matchbook to us. And so, we might say this. Yeah, we might say that this is a really great thing. And there's probably like a really fantastic place for this to be published that would get like the right people who would be interested in it. So, I mean, we're just, now that we've sort of concocted in our minds this illusion of what is a Matchbook piece for us, and operate that way, then we are trying to like match why people read Matchbook to the pieces that, we're interested in and think are Matchbook stories or essays or whatever they are. So yeah, that definitely happens. And then we also have no problem just being honest with that to a writer and saying like, this isn't quite like a Matchbook piece for us, but like, we think you're a really good writer. So if you have something else that you feel like is more like aligned with the kind of stuff that we do, then like send us more, you still get like a nice response from that, I think.